everybody. Can you all hear me? Can you all see me?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Cool. So yeah. So quite frankly, these guys changed my entire life. I've been in corporate for 2 decades, and I went through hell, trials and tribulations. I started off. I won't bore you with the details, but I just started off. I have a bachelor's master's in mechanical engineering, then ended up going to work at Boeing over in Seattle, which is fine. But I grew up on the East Coast, so I was kind of homesick, and then like the dreary weather. Ended up going to Philly, working on the defense side of the company, doing Chinook helicopters, and then was just really just didn't like engineering, so I ended up going back to school, got an MBA from Duke, ended up switching into investment banking and financial services, and that was a nightmare because I was working 70 to 80 hour weeks. Ended up going, getting to Goldman Sachs, and where I was working, crazy hours too. And then switching altogether into the renewable energy field, where I was doing corporate M&A. But at every stage of my career, I've always had terrible managers who put me through so much stress, so much mental and physical turmoil, that it was just hard for me to function. Plus, my family were always complaining about me always missing holidays and family events, and I couldn't even make it to my fucking grandmother's funeral.
Oh my God.
Sorry, swear, guys. I just get really passionate about these things. So, my point is, I've been I've been trying to escape corporate America for a long time without really knowing what I wanted to do. I always thought I was going to be some CEO or CCO somewhere, making buku cash, and life would be easy. But that was not my career path, obviously. So then I got pushed out of my last job after closing a $700 million capex transaction. That was the final straw that broke the camel's back, because I just could not fathom how I gave my blood, sweat, tears, time, effort, made all these sacrifices for literally no reward, and to be unceremoniously pushed out of the company like that really broke me. And I was like, there's no way I could keep doing this, because that's the definition of insanity, right? As they say. So then, the flip side, the good part is I have M&A experience, and I was sitting on the couch one day. I came across Ryan Morgan, and said, "Hey, you could be buy a business." I'm like, "That's exactly what I need to do." If like God was speaking to me, I need to buy a business. That's the only way I'm gonna escape this rat race, this trap that I was in. And then I contacted them, and really the rest was history, because then Jim was able to find me a random business. What I mean by random is it was outside of my buy box, outside of my investment thesis. However, this is why it's important to have people like Jim, Ryan on the team, who could sort of help you strategize and focus and shape your frame of thinking and be more open-minded. I was not really open-minded at the time, but after talking to Jim and the like, he showed me, hey, you should, I know you're predisposed to think this way about the types of business that you want to buy. However, you should consider this thing. And I did. And then, Chris kept the deal alive. Jim made the connection with the seller. Me and the seller really hit it off. And then, went into definitive documents or transaction documents and started negotiating the deal from there. But every step of the way, at every corner, it was always these guys that was sort of just helping me and being in my corner just to support anything I needed. They even linked me up with two or three lenders, right? And the reason why I shot myself in the foot and wasted rather 6 months, because I went with another random not arbitrary, but through another connect of mine. I went with another lender who promised me heaven and the moons. It was just all smoke screens. It was not true. They could not deliver. They could not execute. So then I wasted literally 6 months chasing around trying to find a new lender, when all along, had I just went with the lender that the acquisition network had put me in touch with, I could have been done with the deal months months ago. This all started in February, and the deal did not close until October 15th. But had I went with their preferred lender, which is great, by the way, and I'm sure if you sign up, you'll get all these insights. I just went with their original lender from the beginning. This deal could have been closed in April or May. So I lost even more than 6 months, to be honest with you. But, it's all good. I'm just glad that it happened. Either way, I got it done. But I could not have done this and be here sitting with you all, telling you if it wasn't for these guys that got the acquisition network. They literally saved my life. Because there was no way I was lasting in corporate America. I was mentally drained, mentally finished. I even checked myself into, I had to take a medical leave of absence. I was like literally, brain was fried, I couldn't do anything. And so they literally provided me with a lifeline to escape. I cannot thank them enough for what they've done to help me escape corporate America. Because of them, I have a personal vendetta against all of corporate America. I'm coming for every fucking body in the industry. So sorry again for swearing, but I'm coming for everybody in the industry. And now that these guys have given me an outlet to do what I want to do, what I want, and just grow exponentially, it comes second to none. It's just bar none. I can't speak enough of how great they've been to me and my family as well. So I'll pause there. I know I could ramble, but I'll pause there, take any questions.
Junior, do you mind describing your new game plan with your investment thesis to the rest of the team?
Yes. So the new game plan now is I'm going to do what they call a roll-up strategy as well as a bolt-on acquisition strategy. What that means is I guess I'll just spoil it. I acquired a funeral home over in Colorado. If you recall, it was only Jim who sat me down one day and explained to me, Junior, this is how I should think about this, even though it's way outside my buy box. And he got me comfortable with it. He got me really comfortable with it. Like, this is something I could end up doing, because at the end of the day, it was about helping people, helping families and those in need. Because I wasn't doing much of that when I was in corporate. I was closing billions and deals and transactions, but it was literally just making the rich even richer. So after a while, it just made me sick, because especially considering I didn't make much money from doing so. So now that I got this asset in the pipeline, or that's now that I own it, the roll-up strategy is I'm going to just keep acquiring more funeral homes, put them on a software platform, sort of roll them up, and then later, like maybe 7 to 10 years from now, or 5 to 7 years from now, you could sell them for a higher multiple. The other strategy I'm also doing is called a bolt-on acquisition strategy, in which I buy industry adjacent businesses. So because it's funeral homes, so then I'm going to be looking into hospices, nursing homes, assisted living, non-emergency medical transport, and eventually, God willing, if I ever get there, let's just start buying hospitals. And then also wrap that into medical SaaS tech companies as well. So that's just really one vertical. The other vertical is then I'm going back to the classics, which I like to call, which include things like other service-based businesses, whether it be HVAC, plumbing, electrical businesses. Because I do have renewable energy background in terms of the space I was working into, electrical makes sense for me, especially with the whole AI boom that's currently happening right now. So it could also roll up electrical businesses. In fact, we do have a client who is under LOI for an electrical business in South Carolina. So that's also of interest too. So just so many opportunities. I'm really grateful that I randomly ran into these guys when I did, because they were the lifeline that I needed to get here.
Amen, brother. Oh, go ahead.
One more quick question. What's the cash flow like on that business that you acquired? Like, what was the final down payment? What's the current cash flow like? And then can you explain the strategy related to how you're leveraging that cash flow towards, like, some for your personal, some towards the roll-up strategy?
Yeah, so based on 2024 numbers, the gross revenues are just slightly over $2.3 million, so 2.3 like $2.307 million, and then net income becomes 1.072 million. Then after take into debt, we take account into debt service, the promissory note, self financing. That's another, call it, round up to call it 400K. So then what I plan to do with the proceeds is put it towards new or more acquisitions, which I just mentioned earlier about other funeral homes as well as other adjacent businesses as a whole. So that's the goal, is to sort of create a flywheel in which I take the business profits to buy more businesses, similar to what David Dada has done in the past as well. So, and again, the as a benefit of being part of this network, I'm able to have access to people like David, people like Jim, people like Ryan, obviously, Brian, where they've done, amazing, phenomenal things in their own right. And then it just spurs more innovation, more thought, more strategies to just even grow faster and grow quicker. So it's really about surrounding yourself with like-minded, able-bodied people that could help you progress.
Amen, brother. Thank you so much for being here and providing us with that testimony, man. I really do appreciate that.
No problem. No problem. I'm here if you need me.
Thank you. And we've got Mrs. Smiling and Pels on, so now I'm going to open it up for her. And if you don't mind sharing, I already talked a little bit about your story. If you don't mind sharing, like why do you have the confidence to not only invest into the company yourself, but to refer some of your closest friends, loved ones to our company? And what has been the experience working with us so far?
I had joined some other groups that I needed to figure out how to do all of this on my own, and I paid $35,000 to be involved with them, and we just could not figure out how to put all of those puzzle pieces together by ourselves. This was 3 years ago, and then a friend of mine just said, I think you should look into this. I know you're trying to buy some businesses to be more like what Junior said, to replace my husband's software engineering income so that we can retire and do other things that we're more interested in doing. And so I think my journey was talking to Jim in August of 2024 and asking questions just like all the people on the call are doing today, and it started making sense that we would have more help and more support along the way. So that was the biggest thing. And I also needed to figure out, like a lot of you are asking, how do we pay for this? And I encourage all of you to, instead of saying I can't do it, ask yourself a question: how can I? And find a way, find a partner, find someone. I have several different ways that we've used, and so they're at annsplan.com, or you can email me, annpels@gmail.com. I love everything I've learned here, and it's been very, very helpful to my family. We are close to getting done on about 3 businesses ourselves, and I plan to do kind of the same thing that Junior said. We're going to be rolling up and adding on, and we do consult for businesses based on what we've been learning, and specific recipes to help the businesses grow once we have purchased them. Brian is helping, like you mentioned, and that's been invaluable to me, just to keep everything moving along and feel like our family and our future are right on track for where we were hoping to be at about this time. So I'm grateful. It's been a really good opportunity for us. So
Amen. Thank you so much, Ann, for sharing that experience. So grateful to have you on board.
Thanks.
So guys, you just had 2 live testimonies, right? These aren't people that I just met on the side of the street. These are people that have been working with me for months. Actually, like as Ann said, it's been a year now. Junior's been over a year, right? So we have a family of consultants, investors, and operators that are working together to achieve a common goal. And we welcome you to have the opportunity to be a part of the Acquisition Network. So let's just jump back into it. I hope you guys seriously took some value out of Junior's testimony and experience of just to go back to the slide, the idea of like, you don't have time, I'm not ready, I don't have capital. The truly determined can solve these objections. If you don't have the money, find somebody that has the money, or go get a job and save it. If you don't have the time, then figure out what you're doing that's not giving you a return on your time, because clearly what you're spending your time on isn't giving you what you want. And if you're not ready and you've been sitting on this call for an hour and 20 minutes, I don't know what to tell you. You're just not committed to achieving success.